Welcome to the Sacred Gut Punch podcast, a place of authentic stories, real breakthroughs, and endless possibilities. I'm Dr. Tomi White Bryan. I'm a coach and creator of Emotional Intelligence 3.0, a system for achieving extraordinary performance. I've been fascinated by the gut, how it absorbs what's going on and redistributes it across the body meaningfully as we figure out how to use the difficulty so we can rise. To me, that's a sacred process. I wanted to explore the stories of others and how they had risen after a gut punch. And out of that was born the idea for the name of the podcast, The Sacred Gut Punch. What is your story of the Sacred Gut Punch?
It was so interesting for me to think about the moment of having a sacred gut punch because my story is so much of a longer experience of that moment. And when I think about the actual moment, it's so quiet. So of the transformation of realizing when I had to have that reimagining of my life, it was a really quiet moment, but everything that led up to it was so tumultuous.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Was it all this crazy stuff that happened and then this moment of silence where you're like,
everything has to change.
Everything has to change.
One of the best metaphors I've heard for grieving is that when you first lose somebody, you've been knocked over by a wave. And by the time you get up, you're hit by the wave again and you go back down. And then you struggle up and you get hit by the wave. And as time goes by, it seems like there's a little bit more time before the next wave hits you. Now, when the next wave comes, it may still knock you over, but you increasingly get an opportunity to get a little bit more breath, a little bit more oxygen, a little bit more prepared before the next wave. And there was increasingly more space between the waves, and increasingly, I was able to recover more quickly and stand more quickly, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a beautiful metaphor. And, as you were talking, two things came up for me. My dad grew up in poverty. And so when he joined the military, if you won the boxing match, you got a ribeye steak. And to a young man born in poverty, a ribeye steak was a huge thing. And we joke that he went 27-0 just so he could get that ribeye steak dinner. But he said, he told us one of the reasons why he went 27-0 was his philosophy of get knocked down 7, get back up 8. And that's what you're talking about with those waves, right? That they just keep coming and you just have to keep getting back up. I'm Dr. Tomi White Bryan, host of The Sacred Gut Punch. Join me on the second and fourth Fridays of each month for new episodes with inspiring stories of challenge, resilience, and renewal. If you're experiencing a sacred gut punch, remember, while you may feel alone, you are not alone. Help is out there. If you or someone you know is in crisis and considering suicide or self-harm, please seek support. Call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. And if you're not in the United States, find a helpline in your country with Befrienders worldwide at befrienders.org. Your well-being is important to us.